Joe, you give it.
Of course. Right now.
Yes.
Oh.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Love those pants.
Thank
What
you.
loan can I have
I
some?
figured if they changed the location to a disco, I'm ready.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Los Angeles, welcome. Hear me okay?
Try this.
Oh, more shots. Okay.
No.
Okay. Take two? Yes? No? Hello? Thank you so much for coming. Great to see you all. Good evening. Actually, I think maybe I'm not going to use the mic because it doesn't work.
Try this one.
Take three? Yes. Hello, Los Angeles. Welcome, welcome, welcome. On behalf of Sean and myself, we're so excited to have you here for the signing of Success Factor X. Just to tell you a little bit of what to expect this evening, I'm going to give you a behind-the-scenes peek of Success Factor X, how it came to be, and kind of a peek behind the curtain, if you will. And then after I do that, I'm going to read my passage from the book, and then I shall pass the baton on to Sean Kanan, my partner and friend. And then we are beyond thrilled to have several of the book's participants join us this evening. You may recognize some familiar faces. We're going to invite them up on stage with us and have them introduce ourselves. Then we will open up the floor to questions, and after that we'll be happy to sign the books and to meet you. So a little bit about Success Factor X. One of the questions that Sean and I get asked all the time is, how did you come up with this idea? How did you meet? How did you make it happen? So a brief history is Success Factor X is my fourth book. My first book I wrote 15 years ago called American Pride, and Sean was one of the participants in the book. So I called him 15 years later to wish him a happy birthday, and it was a milestone birthday for him, one that ended in a 0, and as many as many people, when they celebrate their birthday, especially a significant birthday like that, they kind of reflect on their life, and Sean was doing that. So I caught him at a time that he was going through a reflection and saying, I love my life, I love what I do, but I'm missing something. I need something to inspire people. I really want to make a difference. And I said, you're talking my language. That's what I do. I'm a motivational speaker. Let's collaborate on something. And we hung up the phone as writing partners. So that's really how Success Factor X began. We haven't seen each other in 15 years. Sean lives here in California. I live on the East Coast. We did the entire book just by texting and talking on the phone, and we reunited after 15 years 2 weeks ago when the book launched. So it's an exciting story, and we came up with what we think is a fabulous list of participants. Sean and I have the pleasure of working with and knowing some really interesting and successful people, and some people that some people may not have access to, but we do. We wanted to share their knowledge and wisdom with you, and we were able to do that, and you'll have an opportunity to meet them shortly. So I'm actually going to read my page to you and then pass it on to Sean, and we'll go from there. For those of you who haven't had an opportunity to look at the book yet, it is alphabetical, and one thing that we love, and people tell us all the time that they love, is that it's the kind of book that you don't have to read it from page 1 to the end. You can read it out of sequence. You can pick it up, put it down, pick it up again. So it's a very easy read, and everybody has his or her own photo in the book. So just very quickly, my passage has my name and a little bio about me. And it says that success begins with a dream. So my first piece of advice for achieving success is dream big. After you know what you want, you need to take action. Just go for it. Nothing's going to happen until you make it happen. Mark Twain said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Be grateful for everything, even the bumps along the way. Attitude and a positive mindset are so important. As a motivational speaker and founder of Choose Happy, I give talks all over the world about the power of happiness. I believe that when you are happy, anything is possible. Success and happiness are not interchangeable. Happiness can bring success, but success itself does not equal happiness. The secret to success is knowing what you want, believing that it's possible, and developing a plan to help you see it through, and staying committed. Turning your dreams into reality requires time and effort, so be patient. Success results from practice, determination, sacrifice, focus, and commitment. Have fun on your journey. Own it. As demonstrated by the stories and advice shared in this book, anything is possible. The time is now, so go create your masterpiece. And with that, I'm happy to introduce Sean Payne.
Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm really humbled to see so many of you here. I know a lot of you have come from not so close, and it really means a lot that you've taken the time to do this. And I'm also incredibly humbled by the participants of the book, because they are the real authors of this book. Jill and I were fortunate enough to be able to put this together and to contribute our little piece of the book, but really it's the other 48 individuals who are kind enough to take this journey with us. None of them were compensated. One of the things that people ask me about this book is they say, what is the common denominator that all of these very, very successful people have? And a lot of them have ostensibly all the things that one would think you associate with success. A lot of them have money and power and all the toys, but none of them describe their success in those terms. They describe it with their ability to pay it forward and their ability to inspire other people. And I think that really is the essence of what the book is about. So with that, I will read my little contribution to the book. Much of what I've learned about success has come from my father. He's instilled in me a strong work ethic and an innate sense of civility and kindness to others. I'm a firm believer that very few situations in life represent a binary zero-sum game, meaning one must lose for another to win. However, when these times arise, you must act without hesitation. It's not an easy thing to do, but something winners achieve consistently. As a young actor, I stood in line with over 1,500 hopefuls, all hoping to win the coveted role of karate's bad boy Mike Barnes in The Karate Kid 3. Rocky director and Academy Award winner John Avildsen moved through the line, occasionally stopping to speak with an actor. As I saw him making his way toward me, I knew that I'd have maybe 2 seconds to catch his attention. With his camera crew in tow, John stopped in front of me, and he asked me to do a very quick improv of me intimidating him. I must have brought my A game that day, because he brought me inside the studio soundstage, where I was immediately placed in an audition scene with the film star Ralph Macchio. A very short year before, I had been an audience member in the theater watching The Karate Kid Part 2. It's truly surreal. I went on to win the role, which put me on the map. Success means different things at different times in our lives. I define success less by material accomplishment and largely by the quality of my relationships and my ability to inspire others. Life has taught me the difference between feeling good and achieving actual happiness. It's entirely possible to feel temporary emotional or physical discomfort and still be happy. This brilliant life lesson I attribute to my wife, Michelle. Success has common denominators. My acting teacher, the late Roy London, said that he had more in common with a successful plumber than an unsuccessful acting teacher. Successful people largely share specific qualities and employ similar operational tactics and strategies, albeit in very different environments. I try my best to listen to the knowledge and wisdom of others. My grandpa Sidney, a member of the greatest generation, taught me that advice is free, so listen. If it's valuable, use it, and if not, it has taught you something about the individual offering it. Here are a few pieces of advice that have helped me. Dream big and dare to fail. Only by taking risks can success be achieved. Stand on the shoulders of giants. Follow in the footsteps of others who have achieved what you seek to achieve, but never fear the road less traveled. When faced with an overwhelming challenge, heed the word of the Navy SEALs. How do you eat a 2,000-pound elephant? One bite at a time. Have a plan, but remain flexible. Life is a crafty pitcher capable of throwing fastballs at your head, tricky and unexpected curveballs, as well as the occasional screwball, often in the form of a fellow human being. Mike Tyson said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Always have a contingency." Inside each of us rages a personal battle, often unbeknownst to those around us. Seek to win the battle within, and true success will follow. And lastly, have fun. Thank you.
What I'd like to do now is to invite our wonderful participants who are gracious enough to join us tonight, who, as Sean pointed out, they really are the book. And we're so appreciative that they're here tonight, that they took the time to contribute to the book, to offer their tips and stories and share their wisdom about success. So with that said, I'm going to ask you all to please come on the stage, and then we'll pass the mic and introduce yourselves.
You guys take the stage. Here we go. We got one more. Right up here. Right up here. Okay. All right.
Right.
Sure. Why not?
So I'm just going to pass the microphone around, ask you please to say your name, introduce yourselves, and then we'll open the floor up for questions, starting with Scott.
Hi everybody, my name is Scott Turner Schofield. I'm an actor and an entrepreneur.
Hi, my name is Steve Burton, also an actor and also an entrepreneur. Go figure. Welcome. Thanks for coming out today.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, also an actor and entrepreneur and an infomercial host.
Yes.
You may recognize me from the Jack LaLanne Juicer and the Spin Gym, getting you fit and feeling healthy.
Hi everybody, I'm Jimmy Starr. I'm a radio and television host, author, and producer.
Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Sheikah Little. I am a product creator and developer, and I have a product line. Be glad to tell you about it later.
Hi, I'm Kate Linder. I play Esther Valentine on The Young and the Restless.
Hi, I'm Tristan Rogers, and I'm on a show called General Hospital, and have been for quite a while, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
I'm Kimberlyn Brown, and you know me best from Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful, but I'm also a small business owner. I actually employ over 180 people here in Southern California, several businesses, and I was so thankful when you and Sean called me to add to the book, so thank you so much.
Hi, I'm James Kellen Bresak, and I'm a writer, director, producer.
I'm Timothy Woodward Jr. I'm a director, producer, and just lucky enough to be in this book. So, thank you. Who gets the mic next?
I already said my spiel, but we thought it would be fun if you guys had any questions that you wanted to ask. Everyone's being incredibly modest up here, by the way. All of these people are tremendously accomplished individuals. And, you know, so many books about success. You can go and find literally hundreds of books about success in this bookstore, but the interesting thing is most of them are written by one individual and they give you one perspective. And there might be a lot of good information in that, but our book has 50 different individuals, and when you start to see patterns emerge, you start to see strategies that successful people all seem to use, you start to think to yourself, maybe there's something to it. And that's what I think one of the real strengths and benefits of this book is. And I have to tell you, I learned so much from all of you. I have a relationship with pretty much everybody up here. You know, Steve Burton and I played brothers on General Hospital for years. Steve and I are actually cousins by marriage. We've been friends for decades. And when I had the opportunity to read Steve's submission for the book, I learned some amazing, amazing stuff about why Steve is such a successful entrepreneur, let alone an actor. And so much of it had to do with his grandfather, who was a door-to-door Electrolux salesman and used to force Steve to sit down and write down his goals for the year. And that's a strategy that, you know, I've used for years, and I think a lot of people who are in pursuit of success do. And so for me, it was really exciting to learn about each and every one of you. And thank you, because each and every one of you has been a teacher for me. And I'm going to pass it back to Jill.
Thank you. So I could gush on all of these people because, as Sean said, they're so accomplished. And when you read your copies of the book, you will see a bio of each of these people, and you can learn more about them. So let's please open up the floor for questions, comments, discussions. Yes, hi. Oh!
This is James Law Jr., who graciously wrote one of the blurbs.
On page 1. Everybody's so wonderful on here. And Kimberlyn Brown, yes. I'm such a huge fan of yours. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
What is one thing you learned about yourself when you're running politics?
Wow. Okay, running for politics. It was jumping in the deep end, I can tell you that. I ran for very different reasons than most people run for office. I ran because I really care about this country and I really wanted to make a difference for everyone, regardless of who you are. And running for office, I found that not everybody on either side of the aisle have our best interests at heart. There's a lot of pandering and a lot of people saying what they think you want to hear to further their agenda. And I'm not that person. As a business person, I go by the numbers don't lie. And if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, or I'm going to beat myself down trying to do that for you. It didn't work this time around, but I had an incredible experience. And out of everyone running in the state of California, I'm the only one that gained percentage points from the last election cycle. So that means that I definitely crossed the aisle. And I think that's a big problem that we have in America today. People aren't working together, and we got to get back to that. But enough of politics. But thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes.
Especially the actresses and actors who are in the limelight. How do you keep yourself grounded?
Who wants to take that? How do you keep yourself grounded?
Well, actually, we were discussing this earlier because I don't know, many of you might know, but I'm also still a flight attendant for United Airlines, and so you know, with one day when you're I'm here with all of you, and the next day I'm on The Young and the Restless, and the day after that I'm doing a podcast with you, and the day after that I'm serving coffee at 35,000 feet. You just can't forget who you are. And I've watched a lot of people come and go, and I've watched a lot of people believe their own press, and so I'm still serving coffee at 35,000.
I guess it's a good question, by the way. Thank you. For me, you know, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Not from, you know, any type of wealth or money at all, and I feel very blessed to be in the position that I'm in. But I talked to my son this morning about this. I start every day out just being grateful. If I can just start out with that, just, you know, he complains a lot because he's 13. But I say, hey man, you wake up and you're breathing, it's a good day. We got a good day to start now. It's great to be just alive and be able to choose what you want to do and pursue your dreams every single day. And the fact that you can do that is just a huge blessing. And I try to remember that. Obviously, we all have ups and downs all the time. But just starting the day out grateful gives me a great perspective on truly keeping motivated to keep going. You know, because life can beat you down. And it's funny because when Sean approached me about the book, you know, I was dodging this guy like nobody's business. Talk about being successful. This guy's so relentless. He called me every week for like 7 months, and finally I was like, okay, already. Good God.
Gordon Gekko.
Gosh, dang! Don't kick me, Karate Kid man. So you know, with Sean, he called me, and I was going through some tough stuff when he was calling me. Just you know, a restaurant I opened failed because we all have failures. Entrepreneurs, all of us know that we have. Hopefully we have more wins in the column than losses, but it was tough for me at that time to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this book, because I wasn't feeling great, you know, and what this actually taught me being in this book and going through that was that, you know, and it sounds cliche, and I know I'm talking longer than anybody wants me to talk, but failures have to be lessons. Have to be lessons. I've seen so many people and myself, when you fail at something, you beat yourself up to the point of not wanting to continue. And it just taught me a huge lesson by overcoming that, and then saying to Sean, yeah, let's do the book, because it was important for me to do it for you, Sean, but I appreciate you, obviously, and Jill asking me to do this. A lot of times I don't feel like worthy enough to do it. But I just keep going, you know, in anything in life, I just keep going. That's what my grandfather taught me and my dad. Just keep going, get up and go and take action, as Jill said. If you have that goal and you're taking action toward it, something is going to happen. So that's all I got.
I'm going to ask her the question. Jimmy, don't direct me. I'll crucify you. Now, what advice would you give a very young person who thinks they want to be an actor in this crazy world today? No, she's a person. She's going to give me her views. Jimmy, shut up. Stop directing me. We're not on our TV show, Jimmy. Be nice to me.
How about you take whatever you were going to say, and then we'll throw that question out to...
Why she can answer it? She's no dumbbell. With those legs, she can answer anything.
I was just going to thank the guy that stood up and asked us the question for the actresses. I'm not an actress. That's my husband. So my point for bringing that up is that to be an actor, actress, or anything else, I know you had to have supportive family. And I just want to say that my husband and daughter's been there from day one. So if you have your day one still with you along this journey, I say that's priceless.
You got it.
For me, the answer to this question gets back to the real nucleus of how you perceive success. And success, to me, has always been a cerebral thing. It hasn't been a financial thing. It hasn't been a fame thing. It hasn't been a material thing. It's been something that really is in your head. And when you've got it, you know. When you don't have it, you also know. And you try to work within the parameters of having it. When you've had a taste of it, it's a kind of a drug. It's kind of difficult to give it up. And you never really give success up. Success gives you up. And then it's up to you to go back and find it again. And this is the way this pattern has always been there. It's never difficult. It's never changed. It's always been the same. When you get kicked in the ass, when you have your face pushed in the shit, you get up and you do it again. You just come back. You've got to find that ability to come back. And one of the things I put in the book was, you don't ever give up. Ever.
That's right. You got it. So, for me, I grew up, and I have this in the book, as an ugly, awkward little girl with a broken nose and frizzy hair, and a mom who loved soap operas. Who she just did, from General Hospital to All My Children. It became a thing in our world. But I was an outsider. I was a very lonely, awkward kid. And I actually wanted to be an actress, but it didn't seem possible. And in the book, I talk about how it happened. And she's no longer here, but she'd get quite a kick out of the fact that me being an entrepreneur and being successful and driving forward, I'm sitting with the cast and crew of, you know, one of her all-time favorite shows. Mom, kind of cool, huh? But one of the things that I learned along the way is that you are the sum of the obstacles that you overcome. And you can choose to be on the outside, and I did, and I think it's a choice. Even when I started to look better, I still felt ugly and awkward, and Sean and I shared a very intimate moment today on his podcast. Apparently that little boy over there was overweight with glasses too. And it's been exciting to grow up and now to look at other people. Someone asked me today, how do you deal with success? And I said, I'm reminded about Christine. I met this beautiful girl in the park. She's 13 years old. She's got cerebral palsy, and I have a fitness product, and I made her do it, even though her mom said she couldn't. I said, please don't give your limiting belief to somebody else. There's a little L-I-E in the middle of belief, which is a lie. Don't do that to her. And I made her do this, and I believed in her. And then 7 years later, she graduates valedictorian of her class. And then just last week, my little girl, who needs her mom to go to the bathroom and take a shower, won Miss Wheelchair 2019 because I chose to believe in her. So if you get in your own head, the best thing you can do is look at somebody else and do something for them, because life isn't about you.
Yay.
So I was just going to piggyback on something because I heard earlier just a couple things that kind of resonated with me that everybody else was saying. And I've never looked at myself as a successful person, but one thing that I've always done is surrounded myself with the people that I had since day one. So, you know, all of my friends that I've had since I was a little kid. So, you know, I'll be working on a movie and most of them don't really care. They'll just be like, oh, you're just doing that. I mean, I remember my mom, she was like, oh, so you make movies? I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for 8 years, Mom. And she's like, oh, that's a fun hobby. So it's like, I think, you know, staying grounded is easy to do when you surround yourself with people that aren't going to be sycophantic. And they're just going to be like, okay, cool, you're doing your thing. And like, yeah, they congratulate you at certain points, but like, you know, it's really easy to believe your own hype and headlines that come out, and like, you know, especially with film and television, we get reviews constantly, so it's really easy to believe those. But I think growing up in a showbiz family, both of my parents worked in the industry. I saw some really crazy ups and downs. Like, they've been very successful and very horribly not successful, and it's really a roller coaster. So I think when you see that it could all disappear like that, there's never a moment where you like rest on those laurels. You always want to keep fighting and going.
I guess it's my turn. So yeah, I think that, you know, the same thing. I think it's just a mentality. I think it's the he who says he can does, and the person who says he can't. You know, they're both right. I think when you go into anything, you are looking at it. You have to not just go through it. You have to grow through it. You have to come out the other end, whether you achieve or you succeed or you fail. And I think you just have to keep pushing forward and going hard. You know, I'm from Georgetown, South Carolina. My mother's a waitress. You know, there's another alternative reality where I'm sure I'm working at the paper mill or steel mill with everybody else that I grew up with. You know, I shouldn't technically be here, but I had a goal and a drive, and you know, now I'm directed 12 movies. Got a movie opening up Friday in theaters, 1800 Western. So I get to kind of do a lot of cool things, and yeah, it's called The Outsider. Playing at Universal City Walk. If anyone wants to check it out. But so I get to do a lot of stuff. But it's you know, there's challenges even in that. Every movie we do, it's a challenge. Every time you're trying to get a movie made, it's a challenge. Every day is a challenge. But I think it's just the mindset of focusing on the outcome and seeing at the end of the day what you want and seeing the end product and just sticking to it, making the choice. Like, once I say it's done, it's done. It's up to everybody else to, like, I said I'm going to do it. Now you're going to just have to figure out that I'm going to do it. You know, you might have not accepted it yet, but it's going to happen. It may not happen the right way, it may not happen the perfect way, but it's going to happen, and hopefully next time I'll do better. So that's it for me.
I just want to add one thing to everyone on this stage. If you heard them, they talked about the people that they surround themselves with and why they're successful because of the people they surround themselves with. I had a very good friend of mine once tell me that if your successes aren't coming to you the way that you want them to, look at your playground and look at your playmates. And change your playground, change your playmates if the things aren't happening in your life that you really want going on.
Yeah, I agree. To piggyback on that, why I was saying it was really good to have friends that do that sort of thing, you know, is 100%, because in my experience, like if you allow the people around you to say, oh, you're doing great, then you're going to believe you're doing great, so you have no reason to try and strive to do better.
I want to say something too. I'm a fellow South Carolinian as well, so go Tigers. I'm a Clemson
Let's give it up for
Tiger.
South Carolina. What's up with that, right?
But what I wanted
Not
to
too many
say
fun.
is that whenever you come from a small town like we're from, where there are only a couple of red lights, you know, we are very trusting. And you come out here to this big city and glamour, the lights, glitz, glamour, and all of that, and you have to reevaluate your circle. You have to just remember who those people are who you started with, but you can't be so trusting of everybody. You know, we come from the place where they say y'all and everybody knows everybody's family. And by the way, I try to get rid of my accent, so I don't know. But yeah, your day ones are very important.
Yeah, I got that a lot. It was like, we love your movie. No, they didn't. But, back home, it kind of like, oh, even when I go home now, they're like, I watched that one you did with Danny Glover or Trace Atkins or whoever. And, it was all right, but I would have done this different than that. When are you going to make a real movie? I'm like, whoa. You saw that in the movie theater. I think it's real, Yeah, what's going on with Bruce Willis? All right, but so, it's definitely 100% something you have to get used to. People being, over kind, but not in an honest way. You know what I mean? Just trying to kind of, oh, hey, it's great, and back south, it's a very more honest, brutal kind of, in a way where it's not hate, but they're very honest. So it is different, but I love it out here though. As far as work, met some really great people.
Yes.
We've heard from everybody except for Scott. And Scott, you've got so many interesting things to say.
Don't overhype it. Don't overhype it.
Pressure's on. We can't let you just sit there like a wallflower. So
There's a question. You want to take the question? Sure. A couple of questions. Lots of questions. Yes.
I love what you just said. Actually, one of my best friends was training. It was 20 years, I think. But she always told me, she said, you are the top 5 people who spend time. And I love what you said about that. I have a question. I wonder.
A lot of money, baby. Oh my God.
I love what you were saying, and I think one thing that is really a grounding for entrepreneurs, I'm an entrepreneur too, and I'd love to hear from each one of you, because many of you are into so many walks of life. What do you do when, like, a scandal happens, or something hard to deal with happens? How do you handle the press? How do you handle what your fans are saying, on that, tide of humanity turns? How do you, like, maintain your own personal life? I know who I am, I have my friends. Like, this is your question. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
You want to run with that?
Yes. Have you had a scandal? That or does someone betray you? Is a friend, in business? How do you
Okay. I think I can synthesize what we were just talking about and your question, which is what do you do when stuff hits the fan? So I like all this. I like that we moved the question about our personal success into who are the people around us, right? And it made me think about the people around me. So one of the reasons that I'm here is because I work with Sean on The Bold and the Beautiful, and I had a storyline where I, as an actor, became the first transgender actor in daytime television. And thank you. But let's talk about the people around you. I live in a culture where 80% of people don't know a transgender person, where most people don't know what that means and aren't too sure that they like it, right? So making a success of myself has been a whole process of like really finding those people who are willing to change and who are willing to make change. Like me coming on The Bold and the Beautiful wasn't me making a change in the world, right? It was me being invited by other people who had decided to make change themselves. Me as a transgender person, we're 1% of the population. Nothing good will ever happen to us unless a lot of people all around us decide to make a change. So for all of you who have done that in your life, thank you, right? For all of you who gave ratings to that storyline, right? Thank you. right? Because I need you to be a success. I need you to be a success. I couldn't possibly do it. And from that role, I ended up getting a day job. And my day job is I work at GLAAD. GLAAD is an organization that works on accelerating acceptance through the media for all LGBT people. And I actually teach people how to come back from really difficult things. I can't tell you who I've been working with, but I've been working with someone who very publicly used the F word, and I don't mean a 4-letter one, I mean a 3-letter one against gay people. And right? Now, but here is this person who in a million years, I could sit across, right, crossing the aisle, right? I could be very angry about many things about this person. But here I am with this person, and they want to say they're sorry not to save their career, but because they realized that they were on the wrong side of history. Because they realized that that act hurt people and that they are not a person who wishes to hurt people in this world, no matter who they are. And they chose to make a change. I said, okay, here's what you do when you do something that you really mess up. You have to take full responsibility for it. You have to show awareness, right? I said that word, and I am aware that that word makes LGBT kids 3 times more likely to kill themselves than straight kids. That word alone. You have to show awareness for what you did. Then you have to make real amends, right? You have to actually do something, right? And then you have to really not do it again. So it's an interesting question because it's about success, right? And to me, it was a success to sit with that person, to walk them through and to help them figure out how could they do this from a place that wasn't about just trying to keep their job, right? It was a place of like, I actually really want to make this difference. And when they come public with this, it's going to take their whole audience along with them. They're going to watch somebody give a good apology, which I hope will bring them success, because it in itself is one, right? So there you go.
I just want to say I'm so glad that we did this Q&A session, because everyone's like, I'm an actor, I'm a director, and I just wanted you to get the opportunity to see how amazing these people are and the depth of spirit and soul that they have. So I'm glad that after we got over what their initial titles were, we got to see who they were as people. Yes.
Hi, my name's Jason Stewart. I'm an actor and comedian. I thought a lot about whether I was going to ask a question about Sean. I studied at the same acting coach. This is something that I struggle with. I'm interested to hear what you all have to say about this. I'm also an openly gay person. I recently wrote a book called Shut Up, I'm Talking! And about coming out in Hollywood and making it to real. What it's, I should call the title, Coming Out in Hollywood, Making It to Real is a subtitle of the book, because that's the way I feel. And I'm hearing all of the talk, and it got in my head. A lot of people in this room have had successes in different areas of their career, no matter what. How do you move to the next place in your career when most people, a lot of people stay in your lane, the lane that you're in? If you want to be in another lane in your career, you want to go to the next level. How do you do it? It's happened to me, but I don't quite know how I did it sometimes. So how do you guys do it? How do you get them to go to the next place?
I think you just have to keep, if you don't ask the question, listen,
I know I feel you were talking to.
see? If you don't ask the question, the answer is always going to be no, right? So for me, because I also have that question, how do you move forward, and I think for me, you just keep going, and you don't give up, and you just keep going and keep knocking on the doors and keep trying. I don't know what else to say.
So I'm going to answer. So about 10 years ago, I had the lead in a television series, and at the 11th hour, I got replaced by Bo Derek, because my name wasn't famous enough. And at that moment, having struggled in that career for a very long time, I made a decision. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave Hollywood. It broke my heart. I studied acting my whole entire life. I'm going to go follow a dream. My agent had said something very interesting. He said, you really should go brand yourself. If you want to make enough money and buy your own movie if that's what you still want to act. Best advice ever, because apparently there's a lot of other territories in the entire US that have nothing to do with Hollywood. So you said something about somebody in your own lane. Let me tell you something. When you take on your own life, there are no lanes, except how you choose to define what you do. I applaud what you've done. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a woman. So I appreciate that. Well, but it's interesting because I'm a woman in a man's world. I'm a motivational speaker at the highest level, along with Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and Gary Vee, and I'll tell you what, they don't like it. I'm usually the only woman on a panel of men. And it's interesting when you like to wear high heels and be strong. I'm not going to wear my hair short and put on a suit, pretend to be anybody else. So it's interesting that you're fighting your battle. You probably have a battle. Oh, no, you're too cute. You don't have a battle. But we actually define our own. Baby, I'm just telling you that you just need to be. The fact that you wrote that book, I'm going to applaud you. Because when you stand up into your greatness and say, you know what, I am different, I am unique, and I matter, and I am enough. You're still asking, you're still wondering if you are enough. You know what? Turn it around and say, I am. Just the way I am. I'm not pretty enough or thin enough or rich enough, and I don't care because I am enough. And you need to do that too.
So I do a motivational leadership program for high school and college kids. Forbes comes and is amazing with kids. And one of the things that I teach them that's so powerful is just copy genius. You know, I'm a dentist. When I entered Beverly Hills, the last thing they needed was another dentist. I found the 5 most successful dentists and I just shadowed them for like a week each. And when I opened my practice, I did everything they did, but better. And within a year, I had the most successful dental practice and still do because I copy genius. So when you want to change lanes and go into a new profession, find people that are doing what you're doing, spend time with them, ask questions, and then just do it better than them.
Yes.
I have to drive back to Palm Springs with my